What's up guys? Welcome back to my channel and to a video that has been about 10 months in the making. Also, we're having a heat wave in San Francisco and I had to close the window so that you couldn't hear all of these sounds that are happening outside, but it's 77 degrees in our apartment and there's no air conditioning, so if I start to glisten a little bit, it's just my highlighter. We are chatting deodorant and yeah, this is a great time to be talking about it because it is hot as hell. So I have spent the last 10 months going through natural deodorants, trying them out, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work, and basically learning a lot more about my armpits than I ever thought that I would. And I will say, some have come out on top. There are some very clear winners. There's some very clear losers. And this box, currently full of deodorants. I decided to cut it off around 20. I think I have around 25, but some are like multiple of the same brands. I'm gonna be sharing some tips about how to take better care of your underarms. Yes, there are things that you can be doing to take better care of your underarms, but I know I'm gonna forget something, which is why I also wrote a blog post all about it where I'm including all of those tips. So I'll link all of that below as well as all the different deodorants that I talk about. But I'm gonna go through each one of these, share a little bit of feedback. I have my computer here, which has some notes on there as well as prices. I'm gonna do a full comparison and I'm curious to hear which ones you use if they're part of this bunch, so definitely let me know in the comments below. So I'm picking things at like total random, like literally just reaching into the box. And luckily one of the first ones I pulled was one of my favorites. So this is the Piper Y, I think it's Piper Y, or maybe Piper Way, I'm not sure. Activated charcoal deodorant. And this was one of the more recent ones that I got, and I am so happy I tried this. It's one of my favorites. What I love about these guys is that they have charcoal in it, which naturally deodorizes. So it's black inside, but it definitely doesn't go on black. Like, it's not gonna stain your clothes in that way. I will say it smells like a yoga studio, which isn't the worst because I spend most of my time in a yoga studio anyway, but they don't have different scent options, which is slightly disappointing, but I know that they use a blend of essential oils that are shown to help deodorize and prevent body odor. So that's probably why they do that. But if you're looking for a really good deodorant, highly, highly, highly recommend this one. I think next time I would buy the stick just for pure convenience sake, but it is a little bit more expensive to buy the stick. And I think this one is around $12, which is pretty reasonable for deodorant. Most, at least for natural deodorant. Most of the deodorants I tried are between $10 to $20 within that range, and that's pretty much what you'll find anywhere you go. But some are slightly less than $10, some are on the pricey end and over $20, but you're not looking at like a $4.99 stick of Secret, so get used to it. Okay, next up is this Kopari coconut oil deodorant. So many of you guys recommended this, but I don't think many of you have read the ingredients or you just are not super familiar with ingredients. It is not the cleanest. Like, there's still propylene glycol in here. There's no aluminum, which is definitely a step in the right direction. So I would say if you are looking to kind of transition, like make a transition into more natural deodorant, this might be a good start, but I didn't find it to be all that effective. I didn't really like the way it went on and I didn't love the ingredients, so not a fan. Okay, so let's go for one of the baking soda free ones. So I have super sensitive underarms, definitely sensitive to baking soda. I have learned some tips along the way to take better care of that. It depends on what the other ingredients are in the product, so I can use baking soda so long as there's other things that help to kind of prevent a rash. Also, exfoliating really helps me to prevent a rash. There's a lot of things that you can be doing. I included all of that in the blog post, but I did want to try some baking soda free versions because some people are allergic to baking soda or super sensitive to baking soda. This is Routine. This one was also highly recommended for anyone who wants baking soda free. Personally, in my opinion, I felt like I smelled worse. I did try some baking soda free versions that worked pretty well. Unfortunately, this was not one of them. Maybe it's just the blend of essential oils in it. I'm not really sure, but I found that after using it for a couple of weeks that I kind of smelled like worse. Like, I don't know what was happening, but it was messing with my biome in the underarms and it was not going so well. Also, this is not cheap. I think it's somewhere in like the high 20s. So I don't think it's worth investing in this personally. Speaking of not investing, this is the lavender bergamot deodorant stick from Meow Meow Tweet. They actually make a great baking soda free version, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit, but this is their stick and it sucks. Like, you can't really push it up. I think they were trying to make it more sustainable by putting it in paper, but it just doesn't work. And yeah, I just really did not like the stick version of this. Maybe the container version might be a little bit better, but was not a fan. Lavanilla. I feel like so many of you guys recommended this, and that's probably because it's available on Sephora, I believe. It's definitely a step in the right direction, but there are some ingredients in it that I'm not super stoked on. I found that it kind of worked. It was more of like a middle range deodorant. Maybe it has to do with the scent that I chose, but generally like vanilla and grapefruit is something that I gravitate towards, but on like a hot sweaty day like today, I would not reach for this. So it's definitely like a you must reapply every couple of hours kind of deodorant. Personally, that's how I felt, but I didn't have a reaction to it, which was really positive, and people really liked this one. I just personally would not repurchase this. So this is a fun one that I actually got probably most recently. This is from Dryland Wilds. It's a company out of New Mexico. I met the founders when we were on our road trip through the Southwest, and they said that their baking soda free deodorant has been one of their best sellers, and they asked for my feedback on it. I love that there's so few ingredients in it. It's just coconut oil, milk with magnesia, arrowroot, beeswax, and just an infusion of different botanicals from the high desert. It smells amazing if you're into that like kind of earthy high desert vibe. I love it, but it's not something that I could wear on a hot sweaty day. It's not something that I could wear if I'm like teaching yoga and I need to guarantee that I'm not gonna smell bad. You definitely need to reapply every couple of hours. So that's my thoughts on that. They do have a baking soda version. I just went for the baking soda free version just to see how it would go. So I think maybe their baking soda version might perform a little bit better, but I love the smell. I love the founders. The price point is like middle range. I think it's around $15. And yeah, I just like that it's minimal ingredients, and I will definitely keep this and use it on days when I know I'm not working out or it's not a super hot day and I don't need to worry about having to reapply or anything like that. But it's probably not something that I would use as like an everyday deodorant. This looks really, really similar, but it's not. It's not the same. This is the Meow Meow Tweet Lavender Baking Soda Free deodorant. Also very few ingredients, actually pretty similar to the other ingredients. But I found this one to work a little bit better. I think maybe it's the essential oils in it and just, I don't know. You can't always know. I think there's tea tree in this, so if you are sensitive to tea tree, that's something to be aware of, but tea tree definitely helps to deodorize and prevent body odor, so that could be why. I would say this is the best baking soda free version of deodorant that I tried, so it's not like insanely long lasting like something that has baking soda in it, but it performs pretty well, and the price point is good. I think it's around $12 for a jar. So would recommend if you know you're allergic to baking soda or you're just sensitive to it. Meow Meow Tweet. Terrible name, but great deodorant. I'm not used to wearing shorts and they're like riding up my bum. So these are 2 cents from Treat Yourself, and I love the founders and the formulator for Treat Yourself. They're a great company. I like what they're doing, but truth be told, did not have success with this. This one, which is the Full Bloom, is my absolute favorite scent of any of the deodorants I tried, so it's such a bummer that I reacted to it. I think it might be just slightly too high in baking soda, and the other ingredients in it aren't helping to temper that. That's just my personal opinion. I think if you're someone who's not super sensitive, then you might do really well with this. This one I actually got for Kurt. It's their Renegade Sage, and unfortunately he was very stinky to a point where I was like, please go back to your old stuff, you smell terrible. So it didn't work for either of us, and I wish that it did because I really like the company, but yeah, didn't have success with these guys. So let's talk about a company that I had great success with, and I'm actually wearing it today because it's a hot, sweaty day and I need something that's gonna be very long lasting. Can you tell? Do I smell? I think I smell pretty good actually. So this is Primally Pure, and I have heard so many people talk about Primally Pure to a point where I was like, okay, like, is this really legit? Like, what makes it so different from all the other companies out there? So if you've heard about it and you're super skeptical, I get it, that was me. I ended up getting the blue tansy and the charcoal. I wanted to try 2 cents and just give them a go. And by far, best performing deodorants out there. I think what makes these ones different is that they use beef tallow in them, which is like a naturally derived fat from cows, and they get it all from grass-fed cows, so it's really high quality. Obviously not a great option if you're vegan, so if you don't consume animal products, this probably isn't your jam, but it definitely performs super, super well. So I think something about it just helps to moisturize and deodorize under there. They also have baking soda in there and clay, which is a natural detoxifier for your armpits, and I find that this is very long lasting. It's what I'll wear if I know it's a hot, sweaty day, or if I'm teaching a yoga class. If I'm doing yoga, I'm not as concerned if I smell so bad, because it's like whatever, but if I'm teaching, I don't want to be the teacher that's like stinky. Just my personal thoughts on that. So highly, highly recommend. Absolutely will repurchase when these are done, and I think I might be able to get a code for you guys. If I can, I will include it in the link below so you can save a little bit of money on it, and I believe it's around $14 to $16 for these guys, and obviously they last a pretty long time, which is good. I'm gonna try and pick things up a little bit so we can not have the longest video of all time. This is the Ursa Major No BS deodorant, baking soda free. I believe they changed the name of this. I'm not sure if they changed the formula for it. I hope they did, because it sucked. It didn't work at all, and it was $18. So not a fan of this. Sorry, Ursa Major. Like you as a company, but your deodorant, not so good. Okay, it wouldn't be a natural deodorant without some Schmitz. So I ended up going for a different version than I tried before. Schmitz was actually the first natural deodorant I tried probably about 5 years ago, and I got a horrible rash from it, like really, really bad. And I found the formula to be really gritty. I don't know if it's changed since then. People seem to really like it or really hate it. I personally just didn't have success with them. I thought I would try this version, which is, I believe, a baking soda free version, and they were donating a certain amount of proceeds to the Jane Goodall Foundation. It smells amazing, but I found it was similar to the routine deodorant, where I actually smelled worse at the end of the day. Like worse than I would if I hadn't worn deodorant, if that makes sense. So wasn't a fan of this. Curie! So this is their natural deodorant for sensitive skin in white tea. I have met the founder of Curie. I love her. People have had a lot of success with this. I think it's similar to Native and some of the other like more standard deodorants out there. I don't find that there's anything like super special about it that would make it perform better. I personally got a rash from this one, and I don't love the scent. Just personal preference. I don't think it like smells bad or anything. It's just not what I would choose, and they're pretty limited. Okay. So yeah, it's not my personal favorite, and you couldn't actually choose different scents. I believe white tea is the only scent. I believe it's around $12, so it's kind of same range. Another like standard, if your armpits can take anything, then you'll like this one. If you're sensitive, you might have some trouble with it. Okay, this is the All Good Rose Geranium and Jasmine deodorant. I genuinely don't remember using this, and I can't really say anything about it because I don't remember using this, but I believe it's kind of similar to, ooh, smells good. I believe it's kind of similar to Tom's of Maine, which I'm not including in this video because it sucks, so don't buy it. Like, just don't even go there. It ruins natural deodorant for everyone, makes them think it doesn't work, but yeah. So I think it's like that. I don't know. I genuinely don't remember using this. Okay, so I am including this Sage Exotic Crystal Fresh deodorant. I wanted to include something that was a spray because there's probably some of you out there who prefer a spray deodorant. I like to throw this one in my bag and just give myself a little spritz if I need a touch up after like a workout or something like that. But yeah, I don't think it works super well on its own. It's kind of a nice add-on, I would say. And they say you have to pair it with their crystal, which I've tried in the past and did absolutely nothing. Maybe pairing the two makes it a little bit better, but I'm lazy, so I'm not going to do a two-step process for my armpits. I love you, Sage, but yeah, I think it's a good option if you like spray. Oh my god, there's so many of these. Primal Pit Paste. You guys seem to love Primal Pit Paste. I would say it's pretty standard with all the other basic ones out there. You start to get used to the ingredients that you see in all of them, and pretty much all of them are a mixture of arrowroot, baking soda, maybe tapioca starch instead of arrowroot, some essential oils, coconut oil, shea butter. It's kind of the same mixture. It's the ones that do something slightly different, like including activated charcoal or magnesium or beef tallow, that really make the difference. This is kind of just, you know, one of the standard ones that's out there. It smells great because I got the jasmine version and I love jasmine, But again, I was a little bit sensitive to this one, definitely reacted to it. So I would say if you're not sensitive, great option, and the price point is pretty good on this. Let me check. $11. This is the Explore Naturals in Coconut Delight. Jess actually brought this back for me from a trip to Austin. She said they had it for free in the hotel rooms and she thought I'd want to try it. I did try it. I found I reacted to it, and then I looked and I saw that there's alcohol in it, which might be why I reacted to it. So wouldn't repurchase this, but thank you, Jess. This is just a travel sample size of the bamboo charcoal deodorant. So there's a lot of like weird ingredients in this that I didn't realize. It also didn't work despite having charcoal in it. Now, I will say that something with the charcoal deodorants that I've heard from people is that they're afraid it's going to stain your clothing. I did not find that to be the case. So there's that. This was kind of a pricey one. I found this on Amazon. It was like, interesting. This is a probiotic deodorant. So there's like a mixture of probiotics in it that are in theory supposed to help balance the microbiome of your armpit. Love the idea of it. Unfortunately, I didn't find that it worked, and I found it to be very sticky. So it's kind of a wet consistency, and then you have to let it dry. But I found it, you know, every time I lifted my arms, it felt a little bit sticky under there, which was not a feeling I enjoyed. So wouldn't repurchase this. Speaking of probiotics, this is the Mother Dirt AO Plus Mist. This is for the super duper hippie out there who wants to try and balance the microbiome of their armpit naturally. It means you basically need to give up like all soaps, anything that would mess with the microbiome of your armpit. And the belief is that if you can balance the microbiome, then you have more good bacteria, because it's not actually sweat that produces smell. It's actually the bacteria. It's a byproduct of the bacteria that eats the sweat. And so if you have more good bacteria, then you won't smell, in theory. Unfortunately, I tried this for a week and I smelled so bad. I was not willing to continue going with it. I think if you're cool with it, or you're like living in a shack somewhere and you're not super worried about how people think you smell, then this might be a really nice option for you. It is pricey. It's about $50, and it's recommended you keep it in the fridge. So it's a bit of a pain in the butt, but I think it's a great long-term solution for you if you're over deodorant and you just don't want to be using it at all. Also, I love Jasmina, who's the founder of Mother Dirt, so I really admire her, but I'm just not there yet. This one is the AER Next Level Deodorant from Vapor. I've talked about this so much in the past. This is the first natural deodorant that I used long-term, and I really, really love it. I find it is most on par with some of the conventional ones out there, but the ingredients are amazing. I love that a lot of the ingredients are organic. It performs super well, probably not as well as the Primally Pure one now that I've tried that one, but it does perform super well. The only problem is that it's pricey. It's about $24, and I felt bad recommending this to people, being like, yeah, you need to spend $24 on your deodorant. So while I love this and I will absolutely use it up, I probably won't repurchase it just because of how expensive it is. So if they lowered the price, I would definitely buy it again. It smells amazing. This one is the Lavender Myrrh scent. Okay, and the last one, these are all from Native. These are all similar scents. They actually sent me a couple of their sample packs to try. I was just curious to try them. I found that they're a really great option. They're super affordable, especially if you do their subscription program, because it means that you save a little bit. Although I don't go through deodorant as quickly as I think they send it, but it's around $10 to $12 depending on if you do the subscription or not. They have tons of different scents. I didn't find a scent that I particularly liked, but I recently saw that you can now personalize scents, so that's really interesting. There are some synthetics in it that I don't necessarily love, but nothing that's super harmful. I just think it's a great option, really accessible for a lot of people, so I would definitely put this on the list. I didn't find the baking soda free version worked very well, and I did find that I somewhat reacted to the one with baking soda, so that's why I'm not reaching for this one. But I actually got Kurt onto Native and he's into it, so I think if you're not super sensitive, then it's a great option for you, and there's just so many different scents out there that you're probably gonna find one you like, unless you're like me and you're picky. Okay, so I ran through those as quickly as I could. Clearly there were a lot of them. There are some that I didn't include either because they have crappy ingredients in them and people seem to think they're natural, but they're not, or they don't work, like Tom's of Maine, aka I knew it didn't work, so I didn't need to go out and buy it to show you guys. or they're really hard to find. Like any of the ones that are like really small brands selling on Etsy and stuff like that that aren't necessarily gonna ship worldwide, I was just like, I don't wanna include stuff like that because I just feel like not everybody is going to be able to get their hands on them. So I wanted things that were, you can purchase on like Amazon or Credo or a site that ships to a lot of different places. So those are why I picked the ones I did. I probably could have kept going, but this would be the longest video ever. So I had to cut it off at some point. But I wrote a blog post with my favorite ones in there. Clearly the top ones were Primally Pure, the AER Vapor, and the Piper Y ones. I would definitely recommend those to anyone. And I'm also including some tips on how to take better care of your underarms, including how to like detox your armpits when you're making that transition, and just a lot of other really good helpful tips that I wish I had known before I made the switch to natural deodorant. So that's all in the blog post, so go over there, click that, because I want to cut this video short. But if you guys are into these reviews, if you like that I spent the last 10 months going through natural deodorants, make sure you give this video a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below if you use any of the deodorants that I recommended today, or if there's any that I didn't include that you think are worth exploring or that you're obsessed with. Oh, and last but not least, make sure you subscribe to the channel because I have some really sweet reviews coming up very soon. Also, I'll be back with another Clean Beauty 5x5 very soon as well. So stay tuned for that. Hit subscribe so that you don't miss that video. I'm sweating. I gotta go. Luckily, I smell great. Bye.